iceberg shows only 10% of its mass above water. The other 90% is a huge, dark, hidden giant. Cartoon theories are exactly the same. On the surface, you have funny ideas, but below, you find theories about grief, loss, and terrifying alternate realities. We're going all the way to the bottom, exploring the most disturbing ideas about your favorite shows. What we find down there about Hey Arnold might just shock you. Many people are crazy about fan theories, and the thing is, the most popular ones are often the most tragic. Let's start with the one you've probably heard, the Rugrats theory. This one is, to put it mildly, incredibly grim. The theory states that none of the babies, except for Angelica, are real. They are all just creations of her broken mind. You see, Angelica's parents are workaholics who ignore her, leaving her lonely and desperate for friends. So, she invented them. But it gets much worse. The theory explains why she invented these specific babies. Chucky supposedly perished years ago along with his mother, which is why his father, Chaz, is a nervous wreck all the time. Tommy was reportedly a stillborn baby. That explains why his dad, Stu, is always in the basement making toys for the son he never got to watch grow up. And the DeVille twins? The theory suggests their parents had an abortion. Since Angelica didn't know the gender, she invented one of each, twins. This is why they are so similar. What many overlooked is how this reframes the whole show. Angelica, the bully, is actually a deeply troubled child. She's mean to the babies because they are perfect figments she can control, unlike her own unhappy life. And the adults, they just play along, too deep in their own grief to correct her. But not all things are what they seem. Let's move to another famous theory, this one from under the sea. Why does SpongeBob SquarePants take place in a town called Bikini Bottom? And why do the characters look so strange? The theory is that the entire show is set in the aftermath of real-world nuclear testing. This isn't even a stretch. Between 1946 and 1958, the United States tested over 20 nuclear devices at a place called Bikini Atoll in the Pacific Ocean. The explosions, especially the one named Baker, vaporized islands and sent radioactive coral dust miles into the air. The show is supposedly set under this very atoll. The radiation mutated the local sea life, giving them human-like intelligence. SpongeBob, Patrick, and Mr. Krabs aren't just cartoon characters, they're mutants. This explains the weird physics, the explosions, and the bizarre landscape. The wow factor here is the show's creator, Steven Hillenburg, was a marine biologist. He knew exactly what lived at Bikini Atoll. He even once referenced the nuclear testing in an interview, though he called the connection far-fetched. But is it? It seems too perfect to be a coincidence. Finally, at this level, we have Ed, Edd, and Eddy. Have you ever wondered why there are no adults in the neighborhood? Or why the kids all have strange colored tongues? Or why they seem trapped in a never-ending summer, stuck in that cul-de-sac? The theory is that all the children in the cul-de-sac are deceased. They are trapped in purgatory. Each kid represents a child who passed away in a different time period. This explains their different styles. Rolf is from the early 1900s, a shepherd boy. Johnny and Plank seem to be from the 1920s. Eddie is a con artist from the Great Depression era of the 1930s. Ed seems to be from the 1980s, obsessed with monster movies. And the Kanker sisters, they aren't part of purgatory. They are demons, sent there to torment the souls of the trapped children. It makes their endless desperate attempts to get Jawbreakers seem much sadder. They aren't trying to buy candy, they're trying to buy their way into heaven. But these are just the theories everyone knows. It's time to go deeper. Now we're below the surface, where the theories get much more unsettling. Let's talk about Courage the Cowardly Dog. The show is full of terrifying monsters and cosmic horrors. But what if none of it is real? What if their real show is just about a normal, scared little dog living with two elderly people? Courage is an animal. He sees the world differently. He lives in the middle of nowhere, but maybe it's just a normal house with a big yard. He's a dog. He doesn't understand what's beyond the fence. Think about it. The monsters that show up are just strangers. The mailman, a visitor, or even a repair person who seem like a terrifying invader to a small, anxious dog. Muriel and Eustace never seem scared of that because to them, it's just a person. Courage, trying to save them, is just barking at the mailman. This theory changes the show from a horror comedy into a sad story about an elderly couple and their loving but very, very anxious pet. It gets even weirder when you connect shows. Many people are crazy about the idea that the Flintstones and the Jetsons are not set in the past and future. They are happening at the same time. This theory is a dark one. It suggests that a massive world-ending war happened. The rich and smart, the Jetsons, built cities in the sky to escape the fallout. They live clean, easy lives far above the surface. And the Flintstones, they are the poor souls left behind. They're not cavemen. They are the descendants of the survivors trying to rebuild society from the radioactive ruins. This explains everything. It explains why the Flintstones celebrate Christmas. It explains why they use animals as appliances. They are mutated creatures, the only technology they have. It paints a picture of a grim society. The rich live in the sky, ignoring the suffering of ground dwellers below. The two shows are a chilling look at class warfare, not a wacky past and future. But what about a show that's meant to be innocent? Let's look at Winnie the Pooh. This theory is so popular it was actually written about in a real Canadian medical journal. The theory is that every character in the 100-Acre Wood represents a different mental health condition. Pooh himself is the center of it, showing a clear eating disorder with his honey obsession. Piglet is the perfect example of generalized anxiety disorder, always scared and worried. Eeyore is, of course, a classic case of depression. Tigger has clear signs of ADHD, always bouncing and unable to stay still. Rabbit has OCD, obsessed with his garden and everything being in perfect order. And Christopher Robin? He's the boy who is talking to stuffed animals. The theory suggests he is hallucinating all of his friends to cope with his own loneliness. This is just the start. The next level has theories that are genuinely upsetting. Welcome to the deep water. These theories are not just clever, they are truly disturbing. What about Garfield, the lazy lasagna-loving cat? The thing is, this theory was practically confirmed by the comic's creator Jim Davis. In 1989, he drew a series of strips for Halloween. In them, Garfield wakes up in a cold, abandoned house. The home is for sale. Odie and John are gone. He calls for them, but there is no answer. He finds a box of their old things. In his panic, he denies what he's seeing. He says, "I don't want to be alone." Then the strip says he is denying the truth. The truth? That John and Odie are gone. Garfield is a normal, non-talking cat, slowly starving in an abandoned house. All of his adventures, the lasagna, the hatred of Mondays, it's all the desperate hallucinations of a dying animal. The final strip showed Garfield finding John and Odie, but was it real? The original draft ended with Garfield still alone. This theory is heartbreaking because it's not really a theory. It's a what-if story that the creator himself told, and it reframes decades of comics as a tragedy. Now for something just as grim. Let's talk about Hey Arnold. Why is his head shaped like a football? And why are his grandparents so, well, old? They seem more like great-grandparents. The theory is that grandma and grandpa are not his grandparents at all. They're his real parents. The story suggests that they had Arnold very, very late in life, maybe in their 50s or 60s. This would have been seen as strange or shameful at the time. But here's where the story takes a turn. Having a child at that advanced age carries high risks. The theory proposes that Arnold's football head is a result of a birth defect, specifically hydrocephalus, or a similar condition caused by his parents' advanced age. To hide this shame, they invented the story of his adventurous parents who were lost in the jungle. They pretend to be his grandparents to make his life seem normal. It changes the entire show from a story about a cool kid with a weird head to a sad secret everyone in the family has to keep. And the Powerpuff Girls? The official story is sugar, spice, and everything nice, plus Chemical X. But what if that's a lie? One dark theory suggests the girls are not separate people. There are three split personalities of a single, real girl named Blossom. She created Bubbles, her innocent sweet side, and Buttercup, her tough angry side, to cope with childhood trauma. The professor is her father, a therapist trying to help her. All the monsters they fight, they are just Blossom's inner demons and perceived threats, and her fights are her therapy sessions. This theory is dark, but the next one is pure nightmare fuel. We are now at the bottom of the iceberg. These are the theories that change everything. Let's start with The Simpsons. The show has been on for decades and the characters never age. Why? The most disturbing theory says it's because Homer has been in a coma ever since 1993. In one episode, Homer has a conversation with God who tells him he will pass away in 6 months. Exactly 6 months later, in the episode, So It Comes to This, a Simpsons clip show, Bart's April Fool's prank with a beer can puts Homer in the hospital. He gets into a fight with a vending machine and falls into a coma. The theory states he never woke up. Everything after that episode, all the crazy adventures, the celebrity guest stars, the trips to space, it's all in Homer's head. This is why the kids never age. This is why the stories get so much crazier. He's trapped in his own mind, replaying his life with his family, who are frozen at the ages he last saw them. The entire Simpsons universe is the dream of a man in a hospital bed. But the final theory, for many, is the most disturbing of all. It's about the Fairly Odd Parents. Timmy Turner is a miserable kid. His parents ignore him, and his babysitter Vicky is a monster. Then one day, he gets 2 fairy godparents, Cosmo and Wanda. But what if they aren't real? What if they are metaphors for something much more common? What if Cosmo and Wanda are antidepressants? So what do you think? Are these just crazy ideas, or is your childhood officially ruined? Let us know the most disturbing theory you've heard of, and don't forget to like and subscribe for more dives into the unknown.